All right. So we're live there, and then I get to click the next one. It's thinking. All my lives start this way. It's just me talking to you and the computer about the fact that I need it to start doing what it's supposed to do. All right. So we're now live on Instagram and live on YouTube. It'll take a little while before anybody joins. Was your dad able to join us? Is he awake and like,
He is awake. I don't
okay,
know if he's still up because of anesthesia and stuff like that, but
okay, okay,
we'll wing it. He's either going to watch it or
okay.
he's not. I know he tried to call me right before I joined in, so I was like, he's
Okay,
up.
okay. All right, so I've got David Gates with me today, guys, and so I'm going to let you explain it because I always say the words wrong. I just know the word jet is in there. I
It
always
is
say it wrong.
it is a dragster chassis, pretty much kind of like
Okay.
a sportsman car or something like that. You know, when you were at the track taking pictures.
Hmm.
So we basically take like a 235 scale dragster. We cut the back end off of it, and then we put a General Electric J85, which is a
Okay.
jet powered engine. It's a turbine engine. It does run on diesel fuel, so it's not on jet fuel anymore.
Okay.
But it is a 300 mile an hour, 9,000 pound thrust beast. Is pretty much what
Okay.
it is.
Okay. Um, I feel like we should kind of like start from the beginning for you because you did a lot of things before you got there. You were even in media at one point in time, and then you also work part-time on occasion at Maryland International Raceway still, correct?
Yes, I do. So it's quite a journey. I'm not going to lie. My journey started at 11 years old, racing in junior dragsters. Um, I kind of used it as like a bonding thing to try to get closer with my dad. He
Hmm.
was always big into traveling the country with my sister while she was doing professional ATV racing. So it was kind of a dad started in drag racing. Let me try to jump into drag racing, get dad to come over, back to the sport. And I kind of faded out of it, did a couple junior dragster races, ended up winning a couple of them,
Okay.
but ended up getting out of the juniors, got into dirt bikes, tried to travel with them doing the dirt bike thing. Wasn't really my cup of tea. Sold the dirt bike, bought a '84 Mustang at the age of 15 or 16 years old, started building it, putting a roll cage in it and stuff like that. Ended up selling that car, never finished it, sold it to one of my cousins. Ended up buying my cousin's other '91 Fox Body Mustang, and we raced that for a couple years doing some bracket stuff, nothing crazy. Decided to put nitrous on it. Ended up going out there running some high eights, low eights, and then started running some 790s, and started going a little bit
I
quicker
love
and
you. I
quicker.
love you so much, but that's a lot of numbers, and I don't know what they mean, sir.
So it's all elapsed time. So in
Okay.
in a quarter mile, it would turn like a 7 second run.
Okay. Okay.
So it's which is extremely impressive, especially with a street car to go out there and run 790s, 780s, drive the car on the street, take it home, take it to church or go get ice cream or whatever, to be able to take that car and put it on the street after running some sevens is absolutely freaking insane.
It sounds like some of my drift drivers that drive to the track. I always worry for them like just a little bit. I'm like, well, what happens if something happens, sir?
Well, see, what drives me absolutely insane with these drift guys, if they're driving to the event, and, like the whole ass end of the car is cut out. There's no taillights, there's no trunk, stuff like that. I'm like, how is this even a thing?
Well, it depends because some of the guys, have street cars. Like I know, like Andy from Pop Pop's Garage doesn't want to put a cage in his car because he likes the fact that his car is still a street car. Um, and then, some of the guys, it's their party car, so they don't care what it looks like. It just needs to get there and it just needs to get home.
We're
Because
not here
some
to
of
make it
them,
look pretty. We're just here to have fun.
exactly, exactly. And well, and some people can't necessarily trailer because they don't have a trailer. I know one of the guys that like if he's gonna do like one of the longer trips and not go to like the local track, he'll rent a U-Haul. So he
Mhm.
sleeps in the U-Haul and he uses the U-Haul trailer deal to bring the car, the dolly, to bring the car with the U-Haul to the track. It's great. Like that's
Well,
commitment,
by
sir.
any means, we will make it to a race. We will 100% make it.
Exactly. I love the dedication.
It's insane, spending time on the roads and traveling, and it's an absolute honor and a privilege to be a part of something that I get to travel the country. I get to go to
Sure.
different parts of the country and see this stuff. I've been affiliated with Jet Cars for over 7 years now. And over
Okay.
7 years, I've been to so many states: Colorado, Florida, Ohio, Wisconsin, Kansas City, Arizona. I've been all over this map. That it's
Yeah.
it's it's awesome. It really is. And in the past 4 years, I've been to 34 different states, putting on shows for thousands and thousands of fans. And it's to go out and do something that we love.
Yeah.
We'll spend our last dime to go out there and do this, and it's
Yeah.
an amazing thing to do. It really is.
I find that like anytime somebody's very passionate about something, kind of like renting the U-Haul and renting the deli, like anytime you're passionate about something, you figure it out.
Yeah,
Whatever the thing is, like whatever the thing is you're passionate, obsessed about, you will figure it out.
100%, 100%. This was a dream that started at 7 years old. I've always wanted to drive
Okay.
jet cars, and I wanted to get into this stuff. And I told my mom, told my dad, I was like, I will drive one of these cars. 100%, I will drive one of them. And at 7 years old, they're like, "Yeah, kid, chase your dreams. You got this. Whatever." And
Yeah.
at the age of 22, I jumped in my first jet car, and my mom wasn't nowhere around. She was in Ocean City for a weekend trip. And I was like, "Hey,
Uh-huh.
what are you doing?" She's like, "Nothing. What are you doing?" I was like, "Well, I'm down in Georgia. I'm about to jump in a jet car." She was like, "Bullshit." Mom was like, "There's no way." And then, I called my sister down because she was living in Georgia. She came and she shared the experience with me. We were down in Ringgold, Georgia. First pass I ever made in one of those things. I went 380, 211 to the eighth mile. It was the first time I ever went over 200 mile an hour.
Okay.
And when I drove it, it was a year to the day that I wrecked my street car. So I had totaled the car, was out for a year. Like the only other thing that I had raced was my Dodge Challenger. And outside of that, I hadn't been in a car. So I just jumped in a jet car and was like, you know what, fuck it, let's have fun.
I mean, I feel like that's spoken like a true car guy, like just in general, because I have been in some sketchy situations and vehicles in my entire lifetime. And there are some I'm glad there was no video camera for. And there are others where I question how I lived through the adventure. So I
Oh,
feel
it was
like,
it was insane. The trip getting down there, I thought I was going to die in the car going down the highway rather than
oh
in the
my
jet car. I was
goodness.
like, oh my God, this is not going to, we're not going to make it. We're not going to make
All right. So explain to me. So you went from doing the dragsters fairly young, kind of like a family thing. You transitioned into media before you got into the jet cars, right?
Correct, correct. So I did photography for probably 5 or 6 years. I did stuff for
Okay.
Drag Illustrated, Drag Zine, RPM Magazine. It started off as something small for me to just kind of have a side hobby. Anytime I have a hobby, I don't stick with it. I am probably stuck with the hobby for maybe 2, 3 weeks tops. Jump in
Okay.
head over heels. I've spent a shit ton of money trying to get started with it, and nothing
So
ever stuck.
ADHD like the rest of us. Got
Oh,
it.
100%, 100%. So ended up getting into photography, and for some reason it stuck. And
Okay.
it took me out of Maryland. I went down to Georgia, moved down there, lived with my sister for a little while, and moved back up here. And that's pretty much how I got my break in with the jet cars. I
Okay.
did the photography for a while, and I got linked up with the team at Maryland International Raceway. It was for the PDRA race. Robert Albertson, car sitting right over here. I wanted to go over and take a picture of the front end of his car as he was fired up going into smoke and fire. I just wanted to stand right in front of the car. And I wanted to make sure it was okay with him before I did it. I didn't
Sure.
want some crazy ass guy standing in front of him, get stuck to the racetrack and get ran over by a freaking jet car. So, it went from, dude, that's a badass shot. We'll be here in 2 weeks. Why don't you come and hang out with
Okay.
us? And then went and hung
Sure.
out with them. And, he was like, oh, in 3 weeks, we're going to go to Ohio. Why don't you come to Ohio with us? So ended up, getting my break in with the jet cars just from photography.
Sure.
I owe everything to photography in order to make that step into getting to the jet cars. And
Mm.
after, I got hooked up with Dennis Roslansky with the Crossfire, I was still doing photography up until that point. Once I got into the jet and started doing stuff full time, it was time to get rid of photography. I hadn't picked up
Okay.
the camera in a couple of months, and, just left everything sitting over to the side. And, I left the house going to an event that I was supposed to take pictures at. and totally left my camera behind. And, at that point I was like, you know what? If I'm leaving this shit behind, I don't need it anymore. It's time for it to go.
Yeah,
So,
that's fair.
I did probably 9 covers out of RPM magazine before I ended up hanging up my hat. Had
Right.
nine front covers, 9 feature cars, 9 centerfolds. I went out with a bang, and
Okay.
that's pretty much what I really. Of course, my phone drops. I really wanted to. I really wanted to go out with all 12 covers and be done after that, but I stopped at 9. That was it. Like I said, left my shit at home, so it was time to sell it all.
Okay. Okay. So have you done media at all since then?
Yes and no. So I'm a
Okay.
part of the cell phone media gang that everybody boycotts and all that stuff. Working at MIR, I don't have a lot of time to be on my phone
Yeah,
doing the fire
sure.
rescue stuff. So it was, if I got a chance to run out to the wall or something, get a video at the top end or a car coming by just so I can snap a picture of it real quick, that's pretty much what I was doing as far as media content coverage. But other than that, I haven't done a single thing other than promoting my own stuff, doing my own stuff at the
Yeah,
track and taking pictures of the jet
sure.
or whatever the case might be. That's the extent of my media content now.
So how long have you been at MIR? Like, how did you get in? Because that was how I met you, was you were actually you were monitoring the drift event that I was at.
Yep. So I got hooked up with MIR through a friend of mine, Sheila. Sheila
Did I
is
say it
head.
right or did I said MRI? I have a tendency to do that.
Everybody says
Dyslexia at its
MRI. Like
finest.
we're not at the hospital, so we're good.
I know. It's dyslexia at its finest, and I don't catch it till later, and then I go, wait, did I say it right? Did I say it wrong? My bad. MIR. Go
Yep.
ahead.
So I got hooked up with a girl named Sheila. Sheila's head of the fire EMS squad that's down there, and I
Okay.
kind of wanted to see how I could help others. I'm traveling the country year round, going out and putting out different shows. I'm never home. I'm never at my home track. So I felt like if I'm not there to support the track, I at least need to be there to support the racers or try to help out in any way that I can. So I
Okay.
got linked up with Sheila, and she was like, "Look, you're not certified as a fire EMS person. You don't have any of those certifications, but we can still use you because you have the knowledge of the race car. You know where all the cutoff switches are, nitrous lines, any of
Yeah.
that stuff. You have the actual automotive experience on the cars rather than some of my my actual paid fire EMS people that do not have access to a race car on the weekend basis.
Right.
It's it was more or less like come in and teach our guys how to do this stuff, and that's it. Um,
Okay.
and I've only been with them for a year. I'm going back this year. Supposedly supposed to go back as a starter for them. So I'll be up on the starting line, starting the races. We'll see how that all plays out at the beginning of the year. I'm probably going to start off my year with Sheila, but then end up bouncing around at the racetrack, seeing where I can fill in and do stuff there.
Okay. Okay. All right. Well, and you were there for what was there was a large event there in like, was it October? When we were supposed to do this, but you had to reschedule. Was it
World
October?
Cup. Was it World
Yeah,
Cup?
World Cup.
Yeah.
Yeah. Something crazy happened there. Like that's one of the things we were going to talk about.
World Cup is
That was a
a
drag event, right?
yeah, no, World Cup is a
Okay.
huge event. You're bringing in people from multiple different countries, probably over 700 entries as far as cars. They start qualifying on Wednesday. The race doesn't get done until late Sunday night, and it
Okay.
sells out every year. I think this is the third or fourth year in a row that they have sold out with 40 some thousand fans there. Just
That's
the
crazy.
stands completely covered. You can't find anywhere to stand.
I've
There's
never
nowhere
seen
on the
that.
fences. It's insane. To go to
Yeah,
the
I've never
track on
seen that.
to go there on like a Friday or something like that, and there's not a lot
Uh-huh.
of people there, and to go to World Cup and then just see like people are parking in the Amish fields across the street and walking in, and you got shuttle
Uh-huh.
buses bringing people in. It's insane to see the amount of people that they have grown to bring in for that event.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's
Yeah, but
crazy.
I mean, we had multiple crashes there, which is expected. Those guys are
Yeah,
there
sure.
pushing their cars to the absolute limits, and it's insane to see some of these little small rotary cars or these little small four bangers with these big ass turbos hanging out the front of them, going out there and busting off some really really fast numbers at over 200 mile an hour. and they've got a wheelbase of like 24 inches. They're just they're
Right.
little small compact cars, and like they have no business going the speeds that they're going, but they're hauling ass and they're doing a great job of it. So World
That's
Cup
so
is,
funny.
if you're not a drag racing person or you want to get into it and you want to go to a good event, definitely go to World Cup because World Cup is
Okay.
off the chain.
Okay. So with something like that with World Cup, what's the basis behind it? Is it always competition for drag?
It's 100% always competition.
Okay.
You
Okay.
can go to the track and it could be like a test and tune or something like that, something small. Your
That's what I
average
think I've
daily
been to
driver.
the most.
Yeah, so your average daily driver can go out there and just piddle screw around with the track and have fun and get a racing feel of what it's like to do this.
Hmm.
But it's always a competition. Come on, Dawn. You pull up at a
Yeah,
traffic light,
I
you look
know.
at the guy
I
next to you
know.
and you want to
I
beat him.
know.
It's always a competition here.
My car's cooler than yours. No, I get it. All right. So talk to us about how these jet cars work because you were explaining it to me and I'm like, you're driving this thing with one hand, sir? Explain, elaborate.
So the cars are obviously it's a jet engine powered car. Comes out of an F-5 fighter plane. Everything that we take out of the aircraft goes directly into the drag car. The only thing that we don't have is like the avionics, stuff like that, the controls. Um, we basically take from intake to hot end out of the jet, plus the
Okay.
gearbox, fuel control, any wiring that may go along with the EGTs, igniters, any of that stuff. We kind of incorporate that into the car. But everything is driven as if it was an airplane. We don't have a gas pedal. We don't have
Okay.
anything like that. It's all done off of a hand throttle.
Okay.
So there is no spring return on the hand throttle. There's nowhere to really time it so where you can just hit the button and hold on to the steering wheel. No, you have to hold the burner button down that throws fuel to the afterburner that's connected to your hand throttle. While that's ran all the way up to 109%, you're standing on the brakes trying to stop the car from sliding through. And then you have obviously the hot streak that's on the steering wheel. You just tap it real quick and hold that fuel button that lights the afterburner, and you hold it the whole way down the track one handed. So you'll experience up to
So crazy
five
to me.
G's, -7, and you'll be one hand on the wheel the whole time.
That's so crazy to me. So what does braking in something like that look like? Like if you were to so that you get your slow down.
So braking, the scariest part of the run is the slow down process. You got to be able to get
Okay.
the car to stop. You don't want to lock up any brakes or anything like that. At 300 mile an hour, you're covering over 400 feet per second at that speed. So when we get into the
Hmm.
shutdown, by the time we pull the parachute, it takes 1 second for the parachute to actually come out, fully blossom, and start slowing the car down. So you've already covered 400, 450 feet before the chute's even blossomed. You've got to get it through your head that you cannot touch the brake pedals. You
Okay.
cannot touch them at all. The brake pedals are there to stage the car, and that's pretty
Because
much it.
you'll get like that fishtail, right?
It'll what it will do is it'll lock up a caliper, and whatever caliper it locks up, it'll just dart for the wall and it'll crash the car.
Okay. Okay.
So when you get down through there, 300 mile an hour, pull the chutes, hold on to the steering wheel for a second, make sure that they hit. If not, you got to dump the second reserve. Um, and then only up until the car starts slowing down, it gets to about 175 to 200 mile an hour, you can start applying the brake and slowing the car down and bringing it to a stop. But at the 300 mile an hour range, right in between that and 250, you cannot touch those brakes at all because it will cause your car to
Okay.
crash.
Okay. Well, and that's interesting too, because you're gonna laugh at me because the thing that I liken it to, car wise, I have a friend of mine who has a Tesla that has that the auto assist or the auto drive or
The
whatever it
one
is.
pedal, yeah.
Yeah, so they tell you that they don't want you to hit the brake. You want to let the car do the braking because it'll affect something with like the auto drive over time. If you got to hit the brake, you got to hit the brake, but you're basically supposed to let the car do the work. And I'm like, there is no way in holy hell that I want to drive this thing on a regular basis because you're telling me I have to trust the robot communication in here to make all the choices for me. I am not okay with this. I have control issues.
Well,
I
see now
drove
my
I drove it once. That was it. And I was like, yeah, I don't think I want to do that again.
My daily driver has the adaptive cruise control on it. So
Now,
driving down
cruise
the road,
control I'm okay with.
no. So the
Oh,
adaptive
the
cruise, you set it for the
adaptive. I
car
know
in
what you're
front of
talking
you.
about.
Yes.
I
So
don't like that either.
that tears me up. The first time I ever tried it, I didn't put my foot on the brake or the gas or nothing. I let the car speed up and slow down, and it stopped, like came to a dead stop. And I was like, oh no, no,
I
no, no, no,
had
no.
I actually had that experience over the weekend. One of my clients needed a ride to the airport, so I had his car while he was gone. He's got one of those what is it, a Hyundai Ioniq,
Mhm.
and it took me a minute to notice it was doing it because I didn't know anything about the assisted cruise control. I'm just used to turning cruise control on. And I'm like, why? I set this for 65. Why am I going 55? What is happening? I hadn't touched anything. And I was like, maybe it's me. Maybe I did a thing. I didn't do a thing. By the third time it was doing what it was doing, I was like, I am too close to a car and this bitch is making choices for me. I'm in the car, like having a conversation with the car because now I'm mad at it.
Yeah, it's the way the technology's progressed with these cars, it's insane. Even with drag cars, who would have thought that we would have a laptop out putting a tune up in a race car to go down the racetrack?
Sure,
It used to
sure.
be checking spark plugs, timing, stuff like that, do
Hmm.
whatever, and then take it back out there and run it again. No, now you get a full diagnostic on the car that,
Well,
it dropped a cylinder or something 3 seconds into the run, and you're like, what the
it's
hell is
funny you
going on?
say
You can
that.
record it all.
Yeah, well, and it's funny you say that because I went from having like a 2018 vehicle to having a 2018 vehicle to having a 2004 vehicle. And when I bought it, I was like, I don't want a car payment, right? And it saved me a lot of money not having a car payment, but I knew I was going to have to take that money for a hot minute and put it into the vehicle. And there was a moment where I went, did I just slide backwards in life? Because here I am, like I'm fixing stuff again. And I was like, this reminds me of my 20s. I'm not sure what's happening. But what was so interesting is in the course of having that thought process within like the same week, one of my neighbors is one of my besties. And he goes, so I guess you've noticed that Pearl's not here, Pearl being his car. And I was like, well, yeah. I was like, I had, but I hadn't. And he goes, yep. So the dealership blew her up. And I went, well, wait, what? He took he took his car in, which is a hybrid, for a recall. It was a recall repair. He was getting ahead of it. And they did the installation and they blew up the hybrid system. They basically completely blew up the electrical
Fried the
system and then
battery. Yeah.
they have to replace all of it. It's going to take a month for him to get his car back. And then my brain went, okay, yeah, my life's not that bad. You know, 'cause I'm
Well,
over here
listen,
like, God, I
I
don't want
made
to
the
deal
first
with
payment on
that.
my car and struck a deer. So it's like, I can't get any shittier than this.
At this point, I'm just like, nope, nope, I'm good. I can replace all the things on my car. It's fine.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, it's
Um,
it's it's a shame when it comes into these hybrid systems and stuff. There's so much stuff that can break.
well, and I think it's tough too. I know we're completely off on a tangent, but that's what it's like
It
having a
happens.
conversation between the two of us. Uh,
Race cars.
um, right. So I have noticed that I love the concept of the hybrid because obviously we love the gas mileage, right? And it comes with some nuances that can be an issue at some point. I don't love the concept of the electric cars because we don't really have the power grid to support them. I find it absolutely entertaining. I think it was a year or two ago. We had really bad snow. A lot of people got shut down on 95. Well, if you were an electric car that needed to be charged and the shutdown was for hours and you couldn't get off the highway, there was a big ass truck running diesel to get you your fuel or get the generator that was fueled by 87 gas to
Just to get
recharge
you
you.
going again.
I don't understand.
Electric's the way to go, let me tell you. And a
So,
lot of these cars now, they have a safety feature, like if the power does go dead on the car or anything like that, you're still able to get out of the car. But
mhm.
originally, that was like a big focus on them, for anything that was
Jeez.
electric or anything, because if the battery system dies and it's a push button to get in or get out or anything like that, how the hell are you
Mhm.
going to get out of your car? You have to
You're
have some
breaking a
kind of
window.
emergency lever. Yeah, no, of course.
Yeah.
I'd tear that bitch
Yeah,
up.
you're breaking a window. Somebody's replacing a windshield or a side door.
I'm kicking it.
Uh, can see the 6 o'clock news now. Uh, yeah, I don't know. Like I again kind of understand it. Like I understand the appeal, but I live in a condo. I have no way of charging one anyway. California concerns me because they don't have the power grid for what they want to do. So I'll be curious to see how that pans out for them at some point. Um, but I don't know. The whole process is interesting. I like the idea and the concept of the hybrids, but I don't know about for you. The hybrid that I was in over the weekend, if you stopped at a light or you were sitting idle, it had no heat. Even
Yeah,
though you had the heat on, there was no heat.
yeah, there's nothing cycling. It's just chilling there.
Yeah, I don't understand.
Yes.
Again, it's like if I'm cold, I don't want to be cold. Like right now, I can see your breath because I know you're in the garage and it's not warm in there.
So used to it, so you're good.
All right, so back to you and not our tangent. I have I have a random question because the narrative that I have gotten, like probably in the past 2 years, and especially once I started doing the lives, a lot of the people that I've talked to, they started in drag and then they went somewhere else. And the bigger complaint about drag, and you and I have talked about this before. Oh, it looks like your dad is here. Wayne,
No, he
is
made
that your
it.
dad?
No, Wayne.
Hi,
Wayne is a
Wayne.
different one.
Oh,
Wayne.
okay.
Wayne is my second father.
The other dad,
That's the other dad.
dad number two.
I've got like 30 of them, so I'm sure more of them
I
will pop
believe
in before
that.
the end of the
I
night.
believe that. My son and I have this ongoing thing of like, is my other child coming? And most of the time, I know which other child we're talking about, but there's a lot of them.
Always claim them.
Um, Absolutely,
You
they're all
find good
mine.
people,
They're
you got
not
to claim
mine,
them.
but they're all mine. Yeah, exactly. So the oh, and found him.
A lot of friends.
One of the childs.
The actual child. um but the common consensus is that a lot of people got out of it because they didn't like the the culture or the dynamic of there's no inclusion. Like people don't want to talk to each other sometimes, or they're kind of rude to each other because it is competition and they don't want to talk about their cars. And the drifting space is so much different, which is why a lot of people jump to it, was because like you could go hang out with your buddies and it was like a lot of fun and cool, but it was like that. I feel like the drag portion of motorsports is starting to die. I guess that's where I'm going with this.
So I can tell you that drag racing is very much still alive. We can go
Okay.
to events. Let's say, take for instance, Bill Bader, Norwalk, Ohio. He has an event every year. It's called Night Under
Okay.
Fire. This has
Okay.
been going on for 40, I think they're going on their 48th year of the Night Under Fire event. It all
Jonathan
started with,
Taylor loves you, by the way.
oh, that's my little brother. So, um, Bill Bader started with the Bader guarantee. If you came
Okay.
into a drag racing event and you could prove to Bill Bader that you did not get your money's worth or you did not have a good time, you would get your money back.
Okay.
That over time and over the course of 40 some years, they are now putting on a show that sells out every year. And when I say every year, I mean, I started going to these 8 years ago, and every
Mhm.
year they sell out 50,000 fans.
Okay.
To see 50,000 some people at a racetrack,
So let me ask
drag
you
racing's
this.
not dying.
Yes, maybe it's more locally for me that it does not seem like there is any appeal in my, I'm going to say 100-mile radius because I travel a lot. In my 100-mile radius, it just does not seem like there are a lot of people doing drag, and most of the people doing drift came from drag. So
Well, it's
what makes an event like that, or like the World Cup one, what makes that such an appeal? Does that make sense?
proper promoting.
Hi, Monty.
It's all done on proper promoting. You're
Marketing, sure.
not going to have asses in the seats unless you have big name people there. Number one, Night Under
Yeah.
Fire. It's 8 or 12 of the fastest jet cars in the country that are there competing for the North American Jet Car Championship. You have 5 or 6 nitro top fuel funny cars that are going out there busting off 340-mile-an-hour runs. You'll have 7 top fuel dragsters that are going out there busting off 330, 340-mile-an-hour runs. You got to have the entertainment there in order to do it. Now, if you're
Yeah.
going to a bracket race, if you're going to, I don't know. I don't know anything outside of the bracket races. Bracket races are always going to be smaller unless they're
Okay.
big purse payouts. If you're going to go to
Okay.
some of these 10 to 15 granders, you're going to have probably over 250 car count.
Okay.
You can go to the million race and, it's, I think, like 1,500 or something to buy into this race, but you'll have a shit ton of cars that are all there competing for almost $500,000 in prizes and
Okay.
stuff. So it all depends on where you go to. If it's a test and tune or if it's a bracket race, you're not going to have a lot of spectators at a bracket race or a test and tune.
Yeah,
Test and
I think
tunes, you're not going to have a lot of cars anyway because there's not a lot of people that are going to be there testing. Um,
test and tune, and what's the one where you bring your street car? What do we call that? No prep? What is that?
it could be like a no prep deal.
Okay. Because I've been to a lot of those, like where you bring your car, it doesn't matter what it is, you get to run it down the track kind of thing. Maybe I just haven't been to a big enough event for drag. A lot of times I think I have seen drag because I've gone for something else.
Mm.
Sharon would also like you to know that the garage needs heat.
Thank you, Sharon. I know. Not turning on this torpedo heater. I'll never be able to hear you again. So. No, it all depends on the event that you go to. You can go to a grudge event. Grudge events are always big, a lot of cars, a lot of spectators. Little bit not a family oriented crowd because there's a lot of arguing, there's a lot of fighting. Everybody wants to argue for 35, 40 minutes before they end up actually getting a race off, and even then they might only run one time. So
Okay.
it's not really worth it to go to a grudge event unless you're into that kind of scene of the smack talk, then getting in the car and then seeing one race go down. But I mean, you'll have probably 150 cars sitting in the staging lanes that don't even get an opportunity to go down the track until those guys that have locked in grudge races go down the track. If you
Hmm.
wanted to go to like a PDRA race, PDRA races are absolutely insane. Really, really good organization. A lot of big money, cars that are out there putting on, really, really stellar passes. PDRA races are a really, really great time. Um, this year, we have the Potomac Nationals coming to Maryland International Raceway. It's going to be the first time the NHRA has been back here in years. That's going to be an amazing show. If you want to go and see a really, really nice drag race, go to the Potomac Nationals because there's going to be a shit ton of people there. Big names, well, obviously not John Force anymore because he's retired, but Cruz Pedregon, Jordan Vandergriff, Austin Prock, all the big name guys that are out there making it in the big leagues, running these nitro funny cars, producing 12,000 horsepower. It's insane what these cars are turning and the mile an hour that they're going only in 1,000 feet. But it all depends on the event that you go to determine whether or not the sport is dying. Like I said, if you go to a test and tune race, you're gonna be like, oh my God, like how's this place even surviving? But then if you go to an event like World Cup, NHRA, let's say Yellow Bullet Nationals up in Cecil County, Night Under Fire at Norwalk, you'll
So
look
I
at
have more
those events and
questions.
say, okay,
I have more questions. And my questions are and I guess because I haven't been to the bigger events, what makes the bigger events more actually entertaining for spectators? Because drag cars are like 10 seconds of information on the track. Because I've
yes.
done media for that. And I'm just like, okay, we're done. All right, we're done. And it's just like, you're just
So
doing this the whole time.
again, it's all on your entertainment that you book. With the
Okay.
jet cars, we get booked in. We are paid to come in and put on a show and bring fans in through the gates to give them an experience. So it all depends on what your crowd likes. Do they like jet
Okay.
cars? Do they like nitro? Do they like let's say like nostalgia funny cars? Do they like top alcohol cars? Do they like pro mods? You got to kind of find the audience and drive towards what the audience wants.
Okay.
So that's what gets you your spectators. That's what puts on the big events and stuff like that. Is you got
Well,
to
I
have
guess I'm
the entertainment.
wondering. Well, I guess I'm wondering, okay, so we know a drag car is 10 seconds of information. Is there additional entertainment beyond what's happening on the drag strip?
At a racetrack, no. I mean,
Okay.
say you go to say you go to the NHRA race. it's not going to be a crazy deal. But say the NHRA race, you can leave the stands after you watch John Force go down the track. I'm just going to keep throwing his name out because he was the go-to drag racing. But say you go and watch John Force bust off a 360 at 335 mile an hour, some shit like that, and they bring the car back to the pits. You can go over to the trailer. Every ticket that you purchase to get inside of a drag strip is always a pit pass. You don't have to be scared to go over to the pits or anything like that. We will welcome you into our pits, especially me. I'm the type of guy, if you're coming over to see the jet car or something like that, I'm going to put you in the car. We're going to take a picture. You're going to get an autograph. We're going to take the time and we're actually going to talk to where those guys.
Okay. So that makes more sense because that's like ride-alongs for drifting.
Yes.
You don't necessarily get a pit pass, but you can go mingle for the most part, depending on the event. Some events you can't, like some it's kept a little separate, especially the larger ones. But I didn't really think about it that way either because, so I'm going to use MIR as an example. I was there for the first drift event that I went to. I went over and checked out the drag strip area because I was already there. And I checked in to make sure
because
it was okay.
Because I told you, Dawn. I was like, Dawn,
I know. I'm always so worried about it.
Drift stuff. Come over and hang out with us.
So I did go over there, but it's not like at a drift event where everybody's like standing and like chatting while they have downtime, grabbing a drink, grabbing something to eat, whatever, and they've got their tents and stuff and they're chilling. It looks a little bit more, I don't know that stoic or sterile is the right word, but like everything kind of has a place, little OCD maybe. And like, it's not inviting, or at least that day for me, it wasn't inviting to walk up and talk to somebody. Now, I'll go talk to anybody, but it was questionable whether I should or not, like whether that was the appropriate etiquette.
It all depends on your driver. There's a lot of people that will not take the time out of the day to sit and talk to you. They think that their shit doesn't stink or they've got other stuff that's a little bit more important. We run into a few bad apples at every racetrack. It's gonna happen. You're not gonna have a bunch of people that are just gonna be gung-ho happy. Come on over, let's talk. Stuff like that. That's why it kind of separates me from the rest of the people who do what I do. I try to take the time to talk to the kids. I try to instill a spark into the next generation to try to help grow the future of our sport. If I can take 10 minutes out of my day and talk to a kid, you never know what that kid's going through. Parents could be going through a divorce, anything like that. Those 10 minutes will take their mind off of their day-to-day life and what could be troubling them or something like that, and kind of bring a little bit of enjoyment to it, and that's why I kind of take the extra time. I'll be in the middle of packing a parachute, and my father, I'm sure he's watching, will go over and grab an autograph card and tell the fan, "Oh, come over here and get it signed. I'm like, Dad, I'm packing a parachute right now. Like, give me a minute, But at that time, I can't do that because if it wasn't for the fans, I can't do what I like to do. The fans are the whole reason why I'm there. The fans coming in, paying their admission, supporting the snack bar, something like that, that is all what brings in the entertainment,
Right.
I cannot take this jet car and travel the country and put on shows for free. It's just, you can't do it. Jet cars are a crowd favorite. They really are. Not a lot of people get to see them. Dawn, you've never seen them in person. July 18th, your ass is coming to MIR, and you're going to stand on the start line when I run. You already did.
I think so. Last live, I think I put it on the calendar.
Yes, you did. So July 18th, I'm going to take you, and I'm going to introduce you to a different form of drag racing.
It's on there.
To the extreme, So I want you on the starting line. I want you to feel the burner pops, feel the heat, feel the smoke and fire. I mean, just everything about it. I do 10 to 15 burner pops each run, and it's rocking your chest the whole time. It feels like a cannon is going off beside you.
So I also found it interesting. I asked you what fuel you use, and I was surprised by the fuel you use because I hear jet, I think special fuel.
Nope. We will run diesel, we can run kerosene, or we can run jet fuel. What we have found, yes, Jet fuel is obviously going to burn cleaner. It's going to be a little bit more efficient and stuff like that for the engine. But to generate heat, you have to make more power. I mean, to make more power, you have to generate heat. So
Okay.
what other better way to do it than with diesel fuel? Diesel fuel has oil
Okay.
in it. It creates a butane. It creates power, more power, thrust, faster I go, all that good stuff. It's almost about a 50-pound of thrust difference between going from diesel fuel back to the Jet A. And even then,
Okay.
why am I going to do that if I can burn a little bit hotter on the diesel fuel, make a little bit more power, and try to go, bigger numbers? You know, my goal for 2026, if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. It'll happen when it's supposed to. But my goal for 2026 is not only to drop some weight and make my car a little bit faster, but I want to go 300. I don't
Okay.
care if it's
I remember talking about that.
300.0000000. I don't care. I want to go 300. As long as I can hit
Sure.
that 300 mile an hour run or break my personal best of a 527, 298 mile an hour,
Okay.
then I'll be happy. But I don't need to be like the rest of these jet guys that are going out there. They want a religious 300 mile an hour car every pass. You're leaning
Okay.
on a lot of parts. You're burning stuff up. It's not the way to go. You're there
Hmm.
to put on a show, and you're there to get paid. To be 100% bluntly honest with you, you are there to put on a show and to get paid. And
So, how did
why risk
the
blowing it up?
yeah, sure. How did jet cars come about?
Jet cars came because of my mother. And if she's watching, she is 100% the one to blame. Me and my mom would always go to Maryland International Raceway for Jet Wars.
Okay.
Jet Wars was the event that if we went to one, it was just Jet Wars. That was it. We
Okay.
waited all year long for Jet Wars, President's Cup, anything that had a jet car there, we had to go to it.
Okay.
And it was because of my mom. She loved the Jets, absolutely loved the
Okay.
Jets. I will never forget it. Growing up watching the jet cars, Hannah Motorsports. They are the leading team in jet cars. I don't care what anybody says. There is a huge team that's down in Florida, Larson Motorsports. Great operation. They have one that's second to none. But Hannah Motorsports was the most professional team to ever step foot on a racing surface and to go out there and do this. Religious 300 mile an hour car. They had two of the world's fastest jet powered funny cars. They would go out there and put on a absolute stellar show, and they had a car called the Queen of Diamonds. The Queen of Diamonds was driven by a girl named Jessie Harris. Um, she she's pretty much what got me into it. I love the car, love that that she took the time to talk to fans, stuff like that. That again instilled a spark and made me want to pursue this. Like I said, at 7 years old, this was a dream of mine. And again, I told my mom, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. And to this day, she still can't believe that I do this. She says that the videos that I post never get old. She loves it. She'll always comment and react on the videos that I post on social media. But it gets a little bit eerie for her knowing that her kid is now strapped to one of these cars
Sure.
and is doing all this stuff. But it's 100% her fault. I blame her 100%.
Darn mom.
Can't thank her enough for it.
No, that's awesome. So, and I think I know the answer, but what's the difference between the jet car that you're running and referring to a funny car? Because don't they visually look similar? Am I
No.
thinking of the right thing?
No. So, well,
Okay.
it depends on the car. So if you have a top fuel dragster is pretty much the same setup as a jet car, except the jet car
Okay.
is going to be a little bit shorter of a wheelbase.
Hmm.
Obviously, it is thrust driven rather than wheel driven, um, and we're a lot lighter. A top
Okay.
fuel dragster is probably somewhere right around 2,100 pounds. With these jet cars, race ready, fuel, weight, driver, all that good stuff, we're pushing right around 1,200 pounds. So these cars are
Okay.
not heavy at all, and the power to thrust ratio is what makes these cars so fast. Um,
Okay.
so when I refer to a jet dragster is going to be totally different than a top fuel funny car, or sorry, a top fuel dragster. Same thing for a jet powered funny car. Yeah, they might have the same fiberglass or carbon fiber body on them, but again, one of them's wheel driven, the other one's driven purely off of air. So
Right.
It's a little bit of a difference, but it's nothing astronomically different. Now, as far as driving wise, I've never been in a top fuel car. I can tell you by switching from a jet dragster to a jet funny car. I mean, those are two totally different animals. I'm
Okay.
sitting beside the engine in a jet funny car rather than in the jet dragster. I'm sitting in front of it. Um,
Okay.
Everything comes as a different aspect, but you kind of drive the car the same. No brakes, pull the parachutes, all that good stuff, do your fire show. Everything comes second nature. But as far as handling and speeds and stuff like that, they're two totally different animals. I've jumped in from a jet funny car going 250 mile an hour and hop in the jet car and go 298 in the dragster. So they're two totally different animals. You experience the same amount of G's, same amount of thrust. Because they're all 90% of the jet cars that are out there right now are all powered by a General Electric J85. Only because the parts are so much easier to get a hold of. It's not going to be anything like the Pratt and Whitney J60s. Pratt and Whitney J60s, it's like a big block versus a small block with the J85. Your
Okay.
J60 is going to be your big block, and your J85 is going to be your small block. Um, J60 heavier, it's 300 pounds heavier than the J85, but it produces a lot more thrust. J85 power to weight ratio, it's going to win every time. So that kind of helps you keep the cars lighter and again to go fast.
Okay. So we know that your 2026 goal is to hit 300. Do you have any other goals for this year? Any other travel plans? Like, do you already have a schedule?
Stay safe. I, I've got
Okay.
7 races so far this year. We have 3 of them
Okay.
up in Wisconsin at Union Grove, Great Lakes Dragway. I
Uh-huh.
have one in Terre Haute, Indiana. I have one here in Maryland, like I said, July 18th. And then I have Etheridge, Tennessee, which starts out my season on April 25th, which
Okay.
is just about an hour and a half south of Nashville.
Okay. So you have your schedule. Is there anything else that you're planning for the year, or is there any other motorsport that you want to get into, or do you see this being it for a hot minute?
I don't think I'll ever leave Jets.
Okay.
Again, as a kid, that's all I've ever talked about doing is driving a jet car.
Sure.
So anytime that somebody achieves a goal, they don't ever want to step away from it. Would I love to
Sure.
drive a top fuel dragster or a top fuel funny car? 100%. That's
Hmm.
that's the ultimate, the fastest car that you can get into. But with this jet car, I'm in the third fastest vehicle that you can possibly get into in motorsports. And
Okay.
there's not a lot of us that do this. There's probably 25 current jet cars that are out running, if there's even 25. And at that, we don't have a lot of licensed drivers. We make up such a small portion of the racing industry that we're like ants. We're the gypsies of drag racing. We don't do much for anybody other than putting on a show. Everybody kind of blackballs us because we're jet cars. We leak. We're not up to par. These are not FFA standard engines that are supposed to be in the air
Right.
still. These were all red tag engines that have been blown up, and we just scrounged enough parts back together to rebuild the engine and throw it in the
Okay.
car and have fun. Um, Fun fact: anybody can go on eBay and buy a General Electric J85 for $15,000 and stick it in a jet car and go 300 mile an hour. Now there is a little bit more science behind it as far as doing like a homemade afterburner system, but
Please, nobody go buy
legally,
one based off of this live.
legally, you can buy a jet engine for 15 grand and it's great. That's who wouldn't
So
want to
then,
do that?
so then your next goal is to build one. Got it. Not a problem.
100%, 100%. No, we will have one in the works. We will have a car built. It's just going to take a little bit of time, but
Sure.
that's again, it's my end goal. My end goal is to pretty much stay with these cars until the day I die, because of the passion, because of the drive, and because of the work that it took for me to get there. I absolutely busted my ass, and I'm not going to toot my horn about it, but I busted my ass to get to where I was. I put in a lot of time, a lot of effort. I spent a lot of time on the road. I spent a lot of money doing this. Um,
Sure.
so to finally to make that achievement and to be able to drive these, I'm at the point to where I could give a shit less if I drive anything else other than a jet car. I mean, for God's sakes, I've got a 7-second street car sitting down at the shop right now that I have no desire to drive. And there's a lot of people that would love to get in that car and take it down the track and haul ass. But I don't want to drive it because it's not my jet. It's not what I'm used to. I get in the Mustang, and it feels like I should be eating a freaking sprinkled donut, drinking a coffee, going down the track, and
I
listening
think we
to
should. I think we should have you
iTunes or
drift
something.
at least once.
No,
I
no.
think we should get you into that.
I would have that thing all beat up. There wouldn't be a straight body panel left on that damn
That's the
car.
whole point.
There wouldn't be
That's
a
the whole.
single. Darn, there wouldn't even be a track. All the cones would be spread all over the damn place. I mean, I am a hell of a driver in a straight line, but do not make me go around in a circle, all right?
I'm glad you know yourself well enough for that.
I've learned where I can play and where I can't, and drifting is not it, let me tell you. Now, if it snows, I'm going to take the truck out there and I'm going to drift this bitch around in the snow because that's the only time I can do it. And I might do it for a couple of seconds around a turn, but that's it.
Well, our philosophy with the drifting is the slogan is "Don't die," and then you never say one more or one more lap. You say you're going to go again, because if you say one more, is usually when something goes sideways, something breaks, you find a wall, like whatever. So you always say you're just going to go again, not one more time, but you're going to go
I should
again.
probably stop using that. One more pass. Come on, let's do it one more time.
Cody says he looks cold. We've already established that there's no heat on in the garage at the moment. So he's just living his best life in the cold because the heater's too loud.
It is. It's one of those little torpedo heaters. We're in the boonies here, so we're not putting all that good shit in here.
Cody says, yes, come drift. It's easy, I promise.
No. Cody, I'll drive your car, and then we'll tell if it's easy or not, because I'll just tear that damn thing up. I'm telling you.
We'll put you in an open. We'll put you in an open space. I would like to sign up for that. Thank you. So, talk to me about how you get licensed for this, because you have to get licensing to be able to run the car, right?
You do. So NHRA, like I said, the black sheep of NHRA. Nobody cares about us. NHRA pretty much wants us to die out and be gone. They don't want to deal with jet people anymore. They make so many rules against us, it's not even funny.
Okay.
It's crazy to think that a driver that wants to get in a top fuel dragster, we're talking 330 mile an hour, as I've been preaching all night, 330, 340 mile an hour.
Okay.
A newly licensed driver can be licensed within 3 runs to drive a 340 mile an hour car. That's if you have the money and you have the bearings to be able to do it, and you can actually comprehend what's going on behind the wheel. Not saying it's going to take 3 runs. You're going to make a couple 60-foot runs and stuff like that, whatever. We're getting off topic talking about top fuel. But you can have less runs licensing in a top fuel car versus a jet car. We have to make 12 runs within 2 days. Okay. Within our 12 runs, we have to have 2 licensed drivers there. We have to make multiple 8th-mile hits. We have to make multiple 1,000-foot hits. It all depends on how quick you're going about the licensing process. But you have to have 12 runs at a closed track. You have to rent the track. You're talking probably close to $8,000 to $10,000 by the time you're done licensing in order to do this. You have to have the 2 licensed drivers that have at least 3 years of experience there. You have to have an NHRA representative there that will sign off on your license. There's so many different things that we have to go through and different hoops. We have to submit a physical. We have to pass a physical before we can even get a temporary license. And our temporary license is only good for the 12 runs. After that, say after you license and you have an event next weekend and your license isn't accepted or hasn't been approved or anything like that, you can't do shit. You're kind of a duck in the water, and you can't do anything until that license comes in the mail. But we have the hardest, strictest licensing process when it comes to NHRA. And we're not doing nearly the speeds that everybody else is doing. Yeah, we might have 2 or 3 more jet cars that are out here running right now that'll go 315 or something like that. But NHRA's capped us at 320 mile an hour. We cannot go over 320.99 mile an hour. If we do, it's a $2,000 fine first pass that it happens. Second offense. How come? Because they don't want us going that fast. Now, one thing that you got to remember with jets, even though I clocked, let's say my 298 mile an hour run, went at 527, 298. Again, with that 400 feet per second, we're talking one whole second since I shut the car off that the chute blossoms. I have still accelerated from the point of me shutting the car off to the point of the chute coming out because there's still
Okay.
air coming into the engine. The engine is still turning. So it is still accelerating even though the engine shut off. So even though I
Right.
clocked the run at 298, realistically, before the chute came out, I was probably 300, 301 before the chute hit and actually started slowing down. I just don't have
Okay.
that time slip saying that I went 300 mile an hour. So until I have that, I haven't done it yet. But with
Right.
the jets, like I said, they're still accelerating. So it could be the fact that at 320 mile an hour, they don't want it to
You're running out of
accelerate any
room.
further past that scene. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you're running out of room to slow down. Cody says he'll trade you the drift car for jet car racing. You guys
Uh,
can trade for the day.
Listen, it'll be very short lived, Cody. I mean, it'll be one lap, and I'm going to say, you know what, screw this. I'm give me my jet car back. Now, I did ride in a drift car at MIR. I did
Okay.
get in it and ride around a little
Who'd you
course and
ride with?
stuff.
Did you ride with Kevin?
No, I rode with David, David Beaton or whatever his name is.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I
So I
know
rode
David.
with him, and we're riding around in this freaking car, and I'm like, holy shit, don't crash. This is wild. I'm like, all right, get me the hell out of here. I'm done.
I love the fact that drifting is tough for you, and when they're only between for that kind of an event, they're only probably between like I don't know, 50 and 60 miles an hour, maybe 70 at max, and you go 300 miles in a straight line and you're good.
Yeah, no. Let me tell you this, Dawn. Okay, every time I do these damn interviews, I get more nervous to do the interview than I am to get in the car and strap and go down the track. I mean, you never know what's going to come out of my mouth during one of these interviews, and I get so nervous not to screw it up, and I'm just like, I'd rather be in the race car right now. I'd rather be in the race car. I'd rather be in the race car. Why am I doing this? I don't want to do this. So I hate heights. Absolutely hate heights. Don't put me on the second story at a mall because I'm not going to look over the railing, and if I do, I'm going to piss myself. But I will strap
Oh,
into that jet
jeez.
car and hold it
You're
one-handed all the
so
way down the track.
funny.
That's
You're so
that's just
funny.
what I do.
I can't. I understand why we're friends now, but I can't. Your brother says I could drift it.
He's probably playing Grand Theft Auto right now, drifting around and shooting people up or doing something. So
Jonathan, I mean, there's drift events everywhere. Cody's happy to help you. Cody said that's how I feel in a drift car. It's my comfort zone. Well, I feel like we all kind of have something, but like I know, like my comfort speed at driving in general is like 70 miles an hour, even if I'm not supposed to. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
no,
Like
my cruising
that's
speed's
just
80,
like
90. We're having fun.
yeah. Yeah, exactly. So it's just like you get to that speed and then you're like, "Oh, I get in trouble if I hit 80. I should probably slow down." Or you go, "Oh, if this is 45, I'm going like 70. I should probably change that." Because you don't necessarily always know you're doing it when like you have open highway and stuff and you're just like tooling on down the road and you're
Yeah.
comfortable and the car's fine and
You're like, oh,
so
I'm only
yeah.
going 40. You look down, you're going 85. You're like, holy shit.
Exactly. Well, and then 45 feels like 25. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? Like it just like it feels so slow that you're like, oh my God, am I there yet? And then 25, you might as well be crawling. Like I
Yeah.
just like it's excruciating.
Get out and walk the side of the car. That's all it is.
That's what it
But
feels like.
but like you said, getting in the jet, I will post video and video and video time and time again of inside of the car. Um, I watch these videos and I go back and I see where I screw up or if I change something up
Hmm.
or if I need to do something different. And I look and, at the point of me getting in the car and then them putting all the straps on, they're pushing on these straps. We have bars. Okay. We'll take,
Okay.
let's say a 3/8 drive, extension that's about 12 inches long. We'll slide it into the seatbelt loop and we'll rip up on the seatbelt to strap you
Okay.
down inside of the car to make sure that you're tight in there. You know, every time I'm like, one last breath, let me just hold it so that way they'll tighten it all the way down, and it's so nerve wracking to be that tight and to be that, secure in the
Yeah.
car. It almost makes it claustrophobic. Um,
Sure.
but by the time, the most nerve wracking part of the whole run is turning and getting onto the racetrack and seeing everybody in the stands, and you're like, oh, there's no turning back now. It's like,
Kind of like the interview. Like there's a lot of people watching.
it's like, let's just go ahead and get in the car and let's just have fun, But it's
That's how I felt when I rode. Like when I rode motorcycles, I know it was probably just me, but you hear things like you can hear people comment sometimes when you're a female on a motorcycle. So you always feel like everybody's waiting for you to fail. Like whether that's dropping it, whether that's over braking, whether you didn't turn like they would have wanted you to, or like you just feel like people are like waiting for you to fuck
zig when you
something up.
should have dagged, all that good
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah. Exactly.
But the only time I'm really at peace is as soon as the engine fires up. Once it's
Sure.
fired up and I hear that it started, half of the battle of getting the car to run is already done. You've already got it fired up. It's at idle. It's
Right.
just sipping fuel. You're good. You can sit there forever and be fine. I'll start the run with 30 gallons of fuel, and by the time that I end the run, I maybe have like a gallon or two left in the car. I will burn every bit of it to try to make the car as light as possible to run the bigger
Let's
speeds.
let's talk about that too. Before I do that, Jonathan is playing video games, and Cody says he can't go below 50. You can.
No,
It is a
it's
choice.
not physically possible. No, it's not.
Let's talk about cost because I think I had asked you when we initially talked about it, how much does it cost you for fuel for one run?
Whatever 30 gallons cost. And it's all diesel. So it depends on the area that you're in. It could cost you anywhere from
Okay.
$120 to maybe 150 if it's a little bit higher somewhere else. We're
Okay.
not running any special diesel. It's not anything that's mixed with kerosene or anything like that. Or, it's either red dye diesel that you can get from anywhere, or it's the
Yeah.
regular biodiesel that you get out of the gas pump and pump into your daily driver. Whatever
Okay.
we don't burn in the car, it goes right into the tow rig to drive the car home. So,
Okay.
it definitely cuts down on cost of not having to pay, let's say, $17 to $18 a gallon for Jet A to produce just a little bit less, thrust. It's not worth it. So, diesel fuel's not that expensive. The run does not cost that much. I mean, we're very minimal. It's all a business, and everybody wants to make money in the business. They're trying their best to try to cut costs any way that they can. But let's say you go there and you kick a hot end out. You over temp the car on starting and it goes over 900 to 1,000 degrees at the EGT when it's firing up. You kick a hot end out of the back of the car, you just cost yourself $6,000 for the weekend.
Okay.
It's no different than a regular drag car. If you go to the track and you
Sure.
miss the tune up on a nitrous motor, you sling the piston out the side of it. You're talking almost 12 to 15 grand just to rebuild the motor. So
Sure.
it's the same exact thing with these jets, except we don't have a place. We can't call Summit and get General Electric J85 turbine blades.
Yeah.
We have to now find another red tag engine or some spare parts, go on eBay. You can get stuff cheap there. But you can go on
Yeah.
eBay and buy some of these replacement parts. You got to call some of the airplane scrap yards. Like I said, it comes out of an F5 fighter. It comes out of a T-38 trainer plane for the Navy. Then they have a non-afterburning version that comes in a bunch of the Lear jets and Lear 23s
Okay.
and 24s. Those are classified as a CJ610, but
Okay.
same engine. The only difference is the part numbers. They produce the same amount of thrust. One's just an afterburning engine. The other one's a non-afterburning engine.
Okay.
And anything can be turned into an afterburning engine by adding an afterburner to the back of it.
Sure.
And like I said, we get just from the intake to the hot end out of the aircraft, with the fuel control gearbox, the igniter, exciter, all that good stuff. That's pretty much what we take out of the aircraft and stick it into the car. Other than that, there's not that much of a cost to do this.
Okay.
It's very, very cheap until you screw something up,
Something
and
breaks.
then
Yeah.
it's a mess. You could
Yeah.
be replacing the whole
Cody
engine, but
said off-road diesel. He said I ask off-road because it's cheaper.
yeah, I mean, we can do off-road diesel, but the problem is let's say DOT pulls you over on the way home and you got that red dye in the tank, then now you're talking fines out the ass and,
Yeah.
stuff like that. So very rarely will we run red diesel. If it's cheap, 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 we might throw it in there and try to burn it out. And, the problem is if we get some of the cheaper fuel, the car does react differently, so it can play with it. If there's a little bit of water in there, It could cause the car to react a little bit different. Everything plays a factor. Altitude, air density, all that good stuff. That all plays a factor in tuning these cars to go, big runs. You pretty much need a negative DA in order to go out and bust off a 300-mile-an-hour run. Um, it's all pretty much when the stars align. I'm not going to go out here in July and bust off a 300-mile-an-hour run in the heat of the day. It's not going to happen. It's way too hot. The air's thick. It's not going to move through the engine like it should. To where on a colder day, you can move more air, open up the pipe, make it a little bit faster, make it, add a little bit more fuel to it. So, there's different ways to tune the car, but, all of it bases off of your fuel. You're not going to tune the car the same if it's on kerosene as if it is on diesel. You're not going to tune it the same if it's on Jet A if it's on diesel or kerosene. It's all depending on the fuel that you run, and it's the same as like a carbureted car. If you go from E85 to running Cam 2 or something like that, you're gonna have to change the jets in it. So it's pretty much the same aspect. It's just a little bit more eerie because you're messing with a jet engine rather than an actual piston-driven
Sure.
engine.
So Cody said he meant for the race car. I think what he's saying is even if it's in the race car on the trailer, if they were to get pulled over, then they're in trouble because it's not an off-road vehicle or a tractor.
No, I don't think we can get in trouble if it's in the actual the race car itself.
It's just if you dump it into the main vehicle.
If we take it out of the tank that's in the trailer and put it into the actual truck that's driving.
I got you.
Which we don't have separate baffles in the fuel tank. We have this one big ass long fuel tank that runs down the whole side of the trailer that'll hold hundreds of gallons of diesel fuel so that way we can go and run an event. So if we put the red dye in there, we got to pump it back out. And it's either going to go into the car or it's going to go back into the truck. And
got it.
I can just tell you from experience prior to, what I do now, being on the road, if you can pull over at a rest stop and literally take a fuel nozzle like you would get at a gas pump and throw that bitch in the truck, turn the pump on and pump fuel in there for 5-10 minutes and have a full tank of gas rather than stopping somewhere and spending the money, you're going to do that to get back on the road and get where you got to go, especially if you're on a time crunch, going from track to track. There's events where we'll run 2 to 3 different tracks in a weekend. You just got to be on the road nonstop. And that's where those big auxiliary fuel tanks come into play, is because, you can pretty much keep trucking. Yeah, you're still stopping, but then you got to get off the highway. You got to go to a gas station. You got to try to pull in, get back out, not be blocked up at the gas pumps, all that good stuff. It becomes a hassle because we're not talking a little trailer here. We're talking 14 to 15,000 pounds at 40 some foot with a dually towing it down the road. It's a lot of weight and it's a lot of length, and it's not fun trying to get that stuff in and out of rest stops or gas stations or whatever we have to do.
Sure. I feel like I had another question for you and I think I lost it. Yeah, I totally lost it. It's fine. I don't remember what it was. There was one. I feel like I need to let you go because you look really cold.
Oh, I'm fine. It's up to you.
Okay.
I'm fine.
Okay. I'm just making sure because there's a lot of breath and you're starting to look cold. So I just want to make sure.
No, you're good.
Like, do you need a blanket? Like, I have one.
Yeah, can you bring it over?
Just toss it. It's fine. So, Not Another Car Vlog is on the Instagram side, and he said, "Squirrel, have you met me?" Yeah, that's normal. We've already done this we've already done this like 3 times. It's usually my way. Hybrids, electric cars, the drag strip. I mean, you name it. We've talked about it. Let's see. Jonathan said, "Don't forget about Dennis and David Gates Jr." Yes, I am on here.
Okay. No, I've already talked about Dennis. Dennis, the guy that I drive for, well, he brought it up. Let's talk about it. The guy I drive for is an absolute legend into this. He's been racing these jet cars since 1980s. Actually, the car that's right here in this picture, that was his original jet car. That car was built in 1988. And that car's still running to this day. It's undergoing a couple little changes because he ended up wrecking it a couple years ago. So we cut the front half off of the car. We shortened it up by 3 foot, rebuilding the back half, doing a couple different little odds and ends, make the car a little bit lighter, a little bit faster. we're going from 295-inch wheelbase down to about like 260 to 270. So it does take a little bit of weight off the car. But Dennis, getting off topic, Dennis is an absolute legend with this. He's won the North American Jet Car Championship a couple. Oh, I'm sorry, no, not the North American. That was Bill Bader's deal. The Pro Jet Nationals was back in the '90s. That was all televised on ESPN. Dennis has won those 3 to 4 years in a row. He was one of the top dogs in the jet cars. The car that's in that picture right there has been 317 mile an hour and has busted off a 490. That's insane numbers to run in a jet car. That's really
Sure.
hauling ass. It's really hauling ass. But when it comes to him and what he's done in the jet world, he's a legend. I don't know who a legend would be with drift cars. Let's say Ken Block. He's the Ken Block of jet cars. He's
I got
done
you.
so much. And it's a legacy that I'm pretty much running right now. I get to get in his car. His car's always been called Crossfire. So the car that's been around since the '80s is the car that I started driving in, and now
Sure.
I'm in the newer car. But it's really nice to work hand in hand with somebody that has the knowledge that Dennis has, because if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be doing this. He gave me my deal.
Sure.
Yes, I've driven 7 different jet cars since the starting of this 4 years ago, but the knowledge and the experience that I've gotten with Dennis is second to no one else. Dennis has taught me the ins and outs, and what this is, or hey, Dennis, this doesn't feel right. Is this normal? Oh yeah, this is normal. I can explain something that happens and say I don't think this is right, and he'll tell me no, you're fine. Just it's normal. Go down the track, have fun.
Right.
I never thought about it, and I never paid attention to what I do going down the track. But now that I've made multiple laps in these cars, I think I'm coming up on like 150 runs in these cars. Um, I've noticed to kind of slow down and let it process, and kind of let my mind decipher what's going on during the run. I've noticed now when I hit the 8th mile going up to 1,000 foot and the car's really starting to accelerate hard because the air is going through the engine, it'll take the front end and the front end will go like this. And it feels like you're going to crash. And it's like, holy shit, that's not normal. But it is. The car gets down there and
Right.
it's all driven off the rear axle and it's kind of following the glue trying to stay, planted to the track. And it's insane to feel a car shimmy or to do something like that at 260 mile an hour, because it's like,
Oh, I get it.
holy shit, holy shit. Yeah. It's
Well,
like,
yeah,
no.
because I've said this to my son before when he started driving. I said the biggest thing is, and you won't understand it until you experience it, is do not panic. I
Yeah.
said you have to breathe through whatever's happening. Sometimes it's letting go of the steering wheel and let the car do what it needs to do, or holding
Let
on
it
but
work.
not like gripping on. I was like, sometimes that's the thing that you got to do, because that's usually what causes most things, most accidents. A lot of times, even on the highways, somebody panics, they oversteer, they overcorrect, they should use the gas and they use the brake instead, whatever it is. The biggest thing is just don't panic. And, if you don't have the grit for that, don't
One thing
panic is.
one thing to pay attention to is the cars will talk to you. They will
Mhm.
100% talk to you. Drift guys, I'm not knocking anything that you do. I'm not. I'm not going to knock anything. But driving is not 100% of the run. Letting the car react and letting the car talk to you and tell you what it wants. Okay, I got a little too much whatever in the ass into the car. Let me give it a little bit more throttle. I don't know how drifting works, but
Well, that's what
it's
Cody's saying is Drift 101 is don't panic. You literally have to feel what the car's doing, because one of the things that I know, like I see, is from the drifting side of things, is some people will get frustrated with the drifting because they're fighting their car, they're fighting the steering, because their car's either not really set up for how drifting's supposed to function, or they don't have the horsepower for the track that they're on, whatever it is. But it takes a while to learn that and figure out that that's the thing that's actually happening. And sometimes in drifting, and even in drag, something breaks, you may not have any control whatsoever, and the car's going to take you wherever it's going to take you. You may not be able to save it.
yeah. No, I mean, with these jets, you have to expect the unexpected. You have
Hmm.
to. I had a couple close calls. One of them being during licensing. I had an incident happen. I went down the track. I thought that the car had ran out of fuel. It didn't. It turns out I was still in burner going down the track hauling ass, and one of the parachutes came out, and it totally blossomed, shredded the parachute, took it off the car. I had a dead
Okay.
chute. Shut the car off. As soon as it shut off, it threw me forward, and I said, "Oh, okay, the parachute's out. I'm slowing down." Little did I know, my chute was already burned off and still
Because you
dragging
can't
behind
see
me
it.
because I have no idea what's going on,
Yep.
and I got maybe 100 to 175 feet from my turnoff, and I'm like, I still got a lot of speed. Let me slow this bitch down. And I just stood on the brakes and I got the car stopped. I slid it to a stop and I
Right.
went a car length and a half off the end of the track. Um, didn't really know what to do because again, I'm a new driver. It was my first full quarter-mile run, and I blew a chute off the car. Didn't know what to expect. Now that I felt it,
Right.
I know what to expect.
Sure.
Let's say, Maryland International Raceway 3 years ago, I was driving a car for a guy. It was called Thunderbolt. Um, Went down the track. Didn't realize that when I was staging the car, I was pissing out fuel out of the back of the car, out of my overflow. It blew a burner
Okay.
pump seal, and I had fuel all over the track. Ended up going down the track 250, 260 mile an hour. It wasn't one of the faster runs. Dumped one parachute. When I dumped it, because of the abnormal flame that was coming out behind the car, the heat picked up the chute and moved the chute over to the right, and it drugged the car to the left. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
staring at the left lane retaining wall at 260 mile an hour, and I'm like, this is where we go out. I'm dead. It's nice knowing you, world. Let's just have fun. But even then, maintain your composure.
Mm-hmm.
Try to focus and do what you need to do. As soon as that chute jerked left and I'm looking at the left lane retaining wall, I dumped the second chute. As soon as I dumped the second chute, it lifted the ass into the car off the ground. I was side to side, side to side in the air, up on two wheels, off of two wheels. I was doing a lot of driving on that run. And with jet
Yeah.
cars, you're not supposed to do any driving at all. You let the
Yeah.
car settle itself down. That one right there, I'm sorry. I had a lot of pucker factor going on, had to change the fire suit and get a new one. But that was probably the scariest freaking run I've ever had in a jet car,
It
was
sounds like
being at
it.
the top end and going through something like that. Got
Yeah.
there, the fire EMS, Sheila, all of them were right on me. I was dead stopped at the center of the track, and Sheila looks at me and she's like, "Get in the car. We're gonna push you off." I was like, You get in it. I'm not getting in this thing. You try to kill me once. You get in this car now." So, it's again, expect the unexpected, but let the cars talk to you. If
Yeah.
it's a small shimmy, if it's a small wiggle, or you screwed something up on the last time, that's the car trying to talk to you. Turn around and do
Yep.
something a little bit better, and you'll be fine. You 100% will. You just have to listen to your machine. You have to.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree with you. I agree with you. Cody says, "What's better, hard brakes and flat spotting tires, or the sand trap?"
Well, depends. Sand trap can screw some stuff up. Let's say that the turbine blades are still spinning. You get into the sand trap. Those little small pieces of pea gravel will go inside of the intake, go through your combustion can, go through the
Yeah.
compressor, kick out the hot end. It could take out a bunch of blades, and then you're out for the season. To where if I can if I can flat spot four tires and slide the car to a stop and save the car and not have to worry about an engine, I'm sorry, but I would rather replace, let's say, almost $1,000 worth of tires than to replace a $15,000 engine. Um,
Sure.
Again, now that I know what I've done, I know what it felt like. Um, Now that I know what to expect on something like that, it's not going to happen again. 100%. I'll reach for the reserve parachute every time and slow the car down. But because it was something new and it was like a quick snap and a jolt, I thought that the car had shut off and it ran out of fuel. Didn't know what else to do. We had just made a run maybe 15, 20 minutes prior. We didn't fuel the car back up because we had enough fuel to just go right back up and make another run. We wanted to hurry up and knock out licensing. Um, I just pretty much dropped the ball, but again, it was a newer concept and something I've never experienced. So it
Yeah.
was,
Sure.
and I'm sure that there's still about 150 foot of fucking skid marks at that racetrack. I just locked them up and let it slide. But we finished out licensing the next day. I had 3 runs left to do on licensing when that
Okay.
happened. And, went back to his house, the guy that owns the car, went back to his house, knocked new tires out, put them on, balanced them, all that good shit, threw them on the car. And the first pass that I made, I had to get past that gremlin that I just experienced the day before. So I jumped in and
Yeah.
held it all the way to the quarter and shut the car off. And I was like, yep, all right, we're good. So if
That's that.
something if
Go
something
ahead.
happens, I have to get back in the car.
Sure.
If I have to sit and dwell on it, or let's say, on my last run the weekend prior, the shoot incident where the car lifted up off the ground, I had to go out and drive for a guy, Danny Sullivan, in Chicago the next week. Jumped in his car, boom, 280 mile an hour, just like it was nothing.
Right.
You got to get over that little scare factor there, because I feel if that happens and I start shutting the car off early, or not doing my full potential job, then it's going to screw with me for the rest of my career with doing this. So getting back in the car and holding it all the way to the finish line is my way to get over it.
Well,
It's like,
that's actually pretty common for the most. Well, I will say that's pretty common in most of the motorsport spaces I have been in, but I've definitely noticed it. And I think Brew's still in here with us. Brew had a moment at one of our events where he finally found a wall, which he had never done before in his car, and he's had the car for year 2 now, something like that. And the driver I run with all the time, Ryan, was basically like, "Look, go get back in your car. It's fine."
yeah,
And it was some body damage. It might need a little bit of love, but you paid to be here. The car still drives. Hop back in it and just keep going. He's like, "You were worried about crashing. You've now crashed. All right. It's
now it's
out
time
of
to
the
have
way.
fun.
Let's
Yeah.
go." Yeah.
It's same for me. I took my street car, stuffed it in the wall down at Virginia Motorsports Park. And a year to the day that I wrecked it, I jumped in the jet car. And,
Okay.
that was the only other race car that I had been in, was the Mustang and then the jet car. And to
Mm,
get in the jet and bust off that 380 at 211 to the 8th mile, it was like, yep, I'm back.
yeah.
Nothing ever ended, and we're back right where we were, but just a little bit
I
faster.
love the fact that your brother said bye.
Bye, Jonathan.
I guess he left. He left us like at 9:26. He left us 2 minutes ago.
He
I love that
left the
he's just
chat.
like, "See you." Cody said this story will haunt me forever about Brian. Cody, were you part of the Boo Crew? For anybody who doesn't know what that is, we have a group of guys that they drive, but sometimes they just show up to Summit Point to hang out, or like they'll take a break from driving, whatever it is, and they have an RV, so they'll get on top of the RV at a certain spot on one of the tracks, and Brian's like, "I hotboyed it, and I hotboyed it too hard." And that was what ended up happening, because he was going past the Boo Crew, and he's like, "Fuck yeah, we got this." And he's like, "Nope, no, we don't."
Sent her a little too freaking hard there, bud.
Exactly. Uh, Sharon said he is listening but not commenting. Okay. But yeah, I mean, so I catch flack sometimes for the fact that I share media that has whether it's somebody hits recently this past weekend, somebody did an entry, they swung close to the wall, they did not crash, but what they did was they hit their bumper. They hit their bumper just enough that it shattered the bumper everywhere. And I left that in. Social media likes it, and then I like to talk about it because it's risky. What we're doing is risky. If we make it look like this amazing, perfect thing, we're lying to people. It's part of it. It's like going to
100%.
NASCAR for the crashes. Like it's the same thing. It's
People want to see
literally
real
part of
world stuff.
everything.
They want to see real world
Exactly.
stuff. It's not
Exactly.
all, clean runs. It's not. I mean, the race car that I crashed down in Virginia, I drove that car for 5-6 years, and the car never made a wiggle, a shimmy, a shake, absolutely nothing. I go up there one
Yeah.
pass after I step it up, and the car gets stuffed into the wall.
Yeah.
It's not always like that, but that's why, like, when I post on social media and stuff like that, I have learned to take into account any screw ups, anything that is
Mhm.
not normal. That's the stuff that people can relate to. They
Yeah,
can
agreed.
relate to not a common run. Okay, somebody might be having a bad weekend, go out there, get a little too close to center line, spin the tire, car break sideways, something like that. They can relate to stuff like that. And I don't like to always post the good. Don't get me wrong. I always want to look good on social media.
Sure,
I
of
do not want to do
course.
anything
Everybody
bad.
does.
But what makes us
Well,
human
so,
is
but
acknowledging
bad
the
in reality,
mistakes.
yeah, but bad and reality are two different things. Making a mistake or there's an oops or there's a mechanical failure is very different than being a dick. You know what I mean? It's not like you're out there being an asshole about shit. Like, and we have that. We have bullies, unfortunately. And
Mhm.
I think that's my hang up with it sometimes is the reality of what we are doing is risky. Damage happens. Most of the time, whenever there's an incident, what I'll do is I'll go talk to the driver after and I'll layer what happened with the driver talking about what happened so that everybody else can be educated in the moment about, hey, here's poor guy's car caught on fire not too long after that because there was an oil issue and then that caught on fire under the engine. He had a bad day.
Yeah, no, 100%. He's not doing too good right now.
Now, but to Cody's point, where he hit the fast entry and scraped the bumper and blew the bumper apart, that's golden. That's an achievement in drifting. Depending on what side of the fence you are with drifting, you either have this beautiful car that you never want to damage, or you realize that it's going to happen and you're constantly pushing the limits of it. So everybody always tries to get what they call a wall hug. So they're trying to get as close to that wall without tapping it or touching it. But even if they do, and they don't annihilate the car, that's an achievement unlock. So
That's freaking cool.
Yeah, everything is different. Brian said, I forgot to give my balls a tug beforehand, bud, talking to Cody.
Oh,
I love you guys so much.
Yeah, no, I've gone to a couple of these drift events and I'm looking at some of these cars and I'm like, that's questionable. That thing's a freaking death trap, I'm like, no,
The one
I don't think that door will open. Let me not mess with that.
I actually love that you're saying that because I don't know if it was the first event that I met you at or the one where I saw you, but you were over at the drag strip. I think it was that one. I have a tendency to mention Justin and River a lot because they're part of like my smaller portion of my grassroots guys, but they don't have cages in their car. They have party cars because they've used the party cars to learn how to drive, right? So party cars don't get attention in the sense of what a body panel looks like. They get attention like, does it need an axle? Did they break a tie rod? Does the engine run? Like that sort of thing. That's why it's called a party car. It's the thing you learn in. Well, Justin, I always call it the IS that could, because I do not know, one, how it still is stuck together. And I don't know how his doors open. Because when you said doors opening, I was just like, the door is so crumpled, but it's crumpled so well that you can open and close the door.
There's one, I don't know who the kid's name is, but he always runs around the drift events. And he's got a Mustang. It's like an 07 Mustang and it's red. The whole
I think I know what you're talking about.
yes, the whole ass end's cut out of this car. Like you can see
that's smoky. That's
it's cut by the back window and there's
Huey.
nothing else behind it.
It's Huey.
Like, no way. No. Like, you're going to crash this thing. That shit's going right up behind the driver. No. I will never get into that.
So I have to like think back on Huey. There was a reason the rear end was missing because that was the first event. That was when I met everybody, and that was when I met you. The first event, I'm like, well, that's one way to do it. As the car goes by me, I'm like, I've never seen that a day in my life before. And because you could literally see through the back of it. What they had done was they had moved the rear end for something. I don't remember what it was. If I remember correctly, it got put back eventually. I'm not really sure what happened, but Huey's still learning. I feel like he had an accident, and then that's why they took it off because they were going to fix something.
No, it was
and
weight
he
reduction.
Didn't
have. It was weight reduction. He said, "No." He was like, "We got to make this thing lighter." Saws all. Safe card, never met her. Let's wing it.
Thomas, I love Race at the Raceway just joined us. Thomas over at Dominion Raceway just joined us on Instagram, so you can't see him. He goes, bro in Antarctica.
Yeah, no, we got igloos outside. This is the shack.
So we had a whole conversation about this. He's in the garage and didn't have enough time to heat up the garage with the really loud heater. So he has been troopering through. I asked him about 30 minutes ago if he was good because I can't send my blanket through the computer.
Keep winging it. I got this right here. This will keep you warm.
Let's see. Cody said, "Oh, I'm on both sides." He says, "Beautiful car, and I want to push limits." He's like, "Next time, Brian, I'll be behind you to make sure it doesn't happen again."
He'll get his rub and tug before he goes.
Oh, I can't with you guys. Oh my goodness. But yeah, so I mean, it's just the drifting is interesting because I feel like it's probably even the same thing kind of with what drag or the jet cars would look for you. You always have two sides to everything. Like you have some people that are like purist and elitist to things, and it just has to be this way and it should never be another way. And then you have the guy that builds whatever it is in his backyard and he sends it down the road and everybody's like, "Oh my god, that's so cool." He's like, "Yeah, masking tape, duct tape, super glue, WD-40, done. Zip ties, toss some zip ties in there." Yeah, exactly.
This thing's held together by duct tape and dreams, let me tell you.
And prayers, apparently.
Exactly. A whole lot of hopes and dreams, let me tell you.
Well, the worst part is the latter is my favorite. I always refer to myself as a redneck engineer because I was born and raised a country girl. You probably didn't have the money for whatever you needed, so you just figured it the fuck out based on what you could get your hands on. And so that's one of my go-tos. Is I was like, "Look, it is lipstick on a pig. Leave me alone, okay?"
Exactly. Don't judge me. My shit runs.
I got here, didn't I?
It's got 11-2 lights on the dash, but that fucker's still making it. Let me...
You said 11-2. Well, I don't know. I'm always here for like ridiculousness. I love when I get to see like something really unique. And I think I've talked about this on here before.
You're gonna love it then.
Well, so to me, we'll say like a brand new off the line 2026 Corvette looks like every other brand new 2026 brand new off the showroom floor Corvette. Yeah. But the 1982 Nissan Altima that somebody thought needed a redesign.
Yeah, 30 I want to look at that.
Exactly. I might want to look at that. I always refer to. I like that. You know what's funny? One of my drifting friends. His name is Matt, and he has a purple Nissan, I feel like 350Z, and I called it the patchwork car until I knew what was actually happening because I was so far away from it every time I saw it before I met all of them. And what they did was he tried to do that comic book theme on it where like you have like the different colors of purple, but you got some black in there to like make it look like the comic book lines. Yeah, so I kept calling it the patchwork car because I wasn't sure what was happening. It just looked like they patched paint on it in all these like random places.
The car was 50 shades of fudged up, let me tell you.
50 shades of purple at this point. There's one that I always refer to, and the last time I talked about him, I couldn't remember his name. His name's Aiden. And I have photos still on Instagram somewhere. It's this ridiculous. I think it's either a Volkswagen or a Volvo. I don't remember which one, but it's that older boxy like body style like Volvo and Volkswagen used to have. And his dashboard is covered in, I think it's purple shag fur, and there's dice hanging from the rear view mirror. Right?
That's money.
That's what I am here for. Like, give me that. That's
the shaggin' wagon right there. I mean, come on.
So, and it's funny because I'm not a car meet person. Like, to go wander around and just stare at everybody's cars sitting beside each other. But if there were a car meet where the cars look like that, I might show up for that. Like, I love the ridiculous. Oh, it is a Volvo. Okay, I thought so.
See.
But he also at one point in time had this ridiculous exhaust. And the reason I'm looking up very long is because he literally had this
Way the hell
ridiculous
up there.
exhaust. I'm just like, Aiden, I don't know what's happening, but again, I'm still here for it, you know?
Oh, I'm going up to Washington Hospital Center the other day, to go visit Dad.
Uh-huh.
And I'm on 210, and this freaking Fiesta comes by me with no front bumper on it, no rear bumper, and a fucking fart can on it that's like 35,000 feet freaking long. And I'm like, that bitch is fast. It comes by, and I'm like, that fucker's setting records right there. 0 to 60 in 30 years. He just broke the sound barrier going 20. That bitch is sitting still going fast.
Well, you never know. It could be Back to the Future. Maybe he's preparing it. Maybe he just got here.
Let me tell you, that was no fucking DeLorean. That was not a DeLorean.
I don't know. Anything that's ridiculous that somebody has put time into just makes my heart happy. And I don't know what it is, but I've always been that way. And I think that's actually why I like the drift cars, because a lot of the drift cars, like at the grassroots level, are very much like that. Once you start getting a little bit above the grassroots, or you've been grassroots for a long time and you're just a really, really good driver, so you start doing certain things with the cars start to get kind of dialed in about the same. They get a livery and a paint job and like all these things. And I appreciate the livery because I now know that black BMW doesn't look like the other 4 black BMWs that are there for the day that I have to try to decipher later, because it has silver stars or something.
Holographic graphic on the side of it. It's great. Let's send it.
Exactly. So I appreciate when we get there, but if they're unique enough before they even get there, like I don't know. It brings me joy for whatever reason. And I think it's just because, I grew up in the garage, like handing my dad tools. So there's a basics that I know.
You were never holding that bitch right. You're over here. And he's like, no, over here.
You're like, I can't see anything. Or right here, until you figured out what a flathead versus a Phillips was. Like the flathead made sense, but who's Phillip? You know what I mean?
Who's Philip and why is this his screwdriver?
Right? Why is he gotta be extra?
Couldn't get a star bid. I mean, something like that. I mean, come on.
Your brother feels like he could drift.
I'm sure he probably does it, like I said, on GTA. So by the time he's licensed and ready to drive, yeah, he'll be driving circles around me.
What age are we at currently?
Jonathan, you're 11.
I love the fact that you don't know.
Listen, if you ask me how old my dad is, I'm not going to be able to tell you. If you ask me how old my mom is, I might be able to tell you that one because she just had the birthday last year, and that's it. Other than that, I can't tell you ages. Sharon, I don't even know how old I am half the time. I mean, I look like I'm 40. I mean, let's be real.
I tell Sebastian all the time, he's lucky I actually remember his birthday, because that's one of those things that my ADHD brain just does not latch onto, is dates. Which is why if it doesn't go, yeah, exactly. If it doesn't go on a calendar, probably not going to remember unless you've asked me 8 times if I'm showing up on this Friday. That I can remember. But if it's not on my calendar, I'm not going to remember. Like that date is not going to register that it's your birthday. Parents, my dad, for years, I thought his birthday was May 30th. It's March 31st. I then got to March, and then I still thought it was the 30th. And finally, once I put it in my calendar, I now remember that I'm wrong all the time. So it's always the 31st.
See, I'll never remember that. The only way that I remember that I have jet races coming up is like I'll get the invites on Facebook, and it's like, oh, you have an event coming up, and I'm like, shit, I better get a flight.
I should prepare for that.
I better book this thing. I got to do laundry. My bags aren't packed. Like, what the hell? I'm a very last minute person, but numbers, dates, birthdays, ages, none of that stuff sticks with me. I can't do it. Absolutely. I mean, the only date that I can ever remember for this whole race season right now is April 25th, because that's a week after my birthday, and then the July 18th because that's my home. That's my home race. That's it,
You said it to me enough. I now remember it.
Other than that, I'm not going to remember anything else that happens this year. I'll be winging it by the end of the year, And the
Oh my
dates are going to be
goodness.
subject to change. I might start off with 7 races this year, but at the end of the year, I might end up with
Yeah,
like 12 or 13, So it'll be
sure.
like, shit, where do we go to in the beginning of the year?
I love it. Cody says Philip was Flathead's twins, so they doubled it up.
I like that. I like that. That's a good one.
But going back to that, since we ran off on our normal tangent, you know, I grew up with an understanding of cars. I won't say that I'm the person that's going to fix everything. I can do most of the basic stuff, and I understand how a lot of it works. And if it's unbolt it and bolt a new one on, got you. Bet. Done.
Yeah.
No problem. Understand completely. So I really appreciate when somebody has what I would refer to as like the gearhead knowledge, like they're so obsessed with the information that they understand the science, the mechanical science behind things. Because it's kind of like even with like the media and photography stuff. I have one of my friends, one of my media friends, I keep trying to get him on, but he's a busy guy. When you talk to him, you can tell how excited and passionate he is about the details, like the film details and the specs and how you process the information. I'm like, you have a beautiful mind. Can I have it? Because it doesn't work that way for me. I'm such a vibe girl over here going, that looks cool. We should do that. I've never done it, but we're going to try it. I can Google it. Yeah. Like, it's just
I'm the type of person that when I was taking pictures, I was like, oh yeah, fuck editing. Let me take 18,000 photos, and then I get home and I upload everything to the computer, and I'm like,
and then you hate yourself because you
I ain't
delete.
Yeah. Like, why did I take a picture of the crack on the racetrack? Like, why do I have 35,000 shots of that? We got to get rid of this shit.
Because you're an artist, and it could look like art on a wall, but only if you edit it.
I was like, no, and I'm not editing it. That was the worst part of taking pictures that I could not stand. And especially with doing stuff for the magazines is you had deadlines.
Yeah.
It became a job rather than a hobby for me. And not saying I didn't enjoy it. I enjoyed every second of it. I shot some of the nicest cars that were in drag racing, just clean 10 out of 10 builds. And, I've dealt with a guy, Rod Sayberry, everybody knows him as Mr. Corvette. And he's always had some of the fastest Corvettes in the country, actually in the world. Getting an opportunity to take pictures with him, and it was a great time. But it was when I got home and I had to edit that shit. I was like, no, we're done. It's time to just throw it in the folder.
When I got back into photography, which probably I guess I'm at like the 5-year mark now, something like that, going on 6 years ago. I hadn't picked up a camera in so long, I didn't remember what all the settings were. And I had done film, and then I started in the digital age, but I didn't stick with it. Cell phones had a camera. Why did I need an extra thing to carry with me? I just stopped doing it for like 15 years. So when I picked it all back up again, the thing I wasn't looking forward to was editing.
Yeah.
But YouTube University, I went there and I taught myself Photoshop. Right? I taught myself Photoshop, and the editing part is what I like. It for as much as I like shooting, the editing part is also what I like because I get to decide what it looks like. It's not just straight out of camera. It can be, sure. And if I were the type of person that could do the whole batch editing to get it off to whoever it's got to go to, and like that's why I won't. That's one of the reasons I won't shoot weddings. I get asked to shoot weddings all the time, and I know it's stupid good money. Well, so I'm really good at shooting people. I don't think I'm very good at shooting cars, but I'm very good at shooting people. I don't have the attention span for the wedding event. And then I would edit a wedding for somebody else who went to go shoot it, but I don't even want to shoot it, let alone edit it later. But there are some people that are very, very good about having those things fund the fun things. Like that is what funds their business because that's the thing that brings in the money. But I'm over here like, yeah, no, I'm good. And then I'm over here like, well, how do I get paid for the car media? Because nobody wants to pay for that. And I'm like, I'm still here though. You want me to come I'll go to that event. Yeah. Like it's just. keep showing up. It's my own fault. I'm the problem. I own it. But part of taking like a shit ton of photos, like I think this last event, I had 4,000 photos to go through. Now, I am faster at learning what needs to be rejected because if I'm doing the panning shots, you have to take a lot of them because you're not always going to get it right on that one shot.
Correct.
So I might take 4 in a run just to like make sure I have one that's going to turn out. So I've gotten better at like dialing it down, but I still think I still had like 2,000 photos. But think about that. You probably had 30 cars there. And out of like the 30, 35 cars that were there, I probably shot 20 of them. So
and out of 20 of them, you probably had realistically 50 to 60 really usable good shots, and people don't understand that, and it's the same with drag racing, obviously with me being former media, you go to the track, you bust your ass, you stand out there all day long in the heat, in the rain, whatever it takes to get these shots. And people don't understand like the concept behind it. I mean, not only it's not picking up a camera and taking pictures. You got to worry about your shutter speed, your f-stop, your ISO, all that, taking the grains out, your white balances, whether you're going to shoot in manual, auto, raw, anything like that. There's so much stuff behind it that it becomes a job that you're trying to turn into a hobby and have a good time with it. And like I said, it wasn't the turnaround that I was looking for. Did I succeed with it? I did a great job with it. Again, with the magazines, I've done a lot of stuff. It led me to chasing my dream and doing what I do now. But, it became a job rather than a hobby. And it was like, I'm not getting the return out of the job that I should be getting to have to put up with half of the bullshit that you have to deal with, with trying to get stuff sold. And a lot of people as a community will come and support you. They'll buy stuff from you. But then, you go over to one person and you're like, hey, I got this shot in front of you, blah, 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 blah. Oh, okay, cool. And they just blow you off and you're like, all right, well, I just sat here busting my ass all day for you, asshole,
So I think that's it though. So I think there's a couple of caveats to that because one, it depends on why you're there. Did the track want you there? Did a team want you there? Did you show up just to shoot? And did you show up for yourself? Did you show up for others? Because I see that a lot in the drifting spaces. A lot of the media, because they do free media, if you have somebody that comes in and they're like, oh, okay, well, I don't have a requirement on how much, but, I do a slide me cash option because it covers expenses, time, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Because you guys got to run for 8 hours on the track, but I ran with you. And then I'm going to go home and spend a couple hours combing through everything that I shot. And I'm probably going to have to edit something somewhere along the lines. And then I also have to get it somewhere to where you guys can have it, depending on how I go about that. And nobody sees that. And that's the hard part, which makes me then just like, if I could run with like a team, I'd almost be game for it, which is why I like.
People don't see that you're 8 hours at a track. You might be 8 hours at the track, but you're another 16 back at the house editing photos and doing shit behind the scenes trying to get them done. And they don't. I'm not saying that people are greedy and they don't appreciate it, but a lot of them make you feel like you're not appreciated or like your time was not worth it. And it's like, you don't understand what I went through to stand out there and bust my ass, miss a meal, miss something, maybe a family event that was important because you wanted to go to the track and get your mind off of something, there's so many factors that play into this. And, people are like, oh, I don't really care.
Well, yeah. So that was where I was going with the next portion of this. So again, it depends on why you're there. Some people, because they have a cool card, they're going to have free media all day long. So why would they pay you for yours unless it's exceptional? If it's exceptional, a lot of times they'll be like, yeah, absolutely. And then in some spaces, they're going to support you regardless because, to them, you're part of the group. So they know that they're going to support you in some way, shape, or form. But if you had 40 media people show up, are 40 media people charging everybody? Are 40 and 30 or 35 media people doing everything for free because it's their passion?
90% that's of them are going to throw a watermark on it, post it online, and it's done.
Right. Well, and that's what you actually have to do in the beginning because you don't have a portfolio. So you're building this portfolio for free and you're tossing everything on social media so that you're in the hopes of like somebody hiring you. And so like even for you, and I'm going to ask this of you because I've done this on the model side because I shot people prior to getting into cars. You had your stuff on cover and feature. Did you get paid?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
So
Everything was paid. Yes.
On the model side, when you get into that, when it pulls you in because it just looks cool and fun and like it's like a free for all, nobody wants to pay the photographer, nobody wants to pay the model, everybody pays the makeup artist, the hairstylist, that sort of thing, and the studio. If you're doing studio shooting or the event host, whatever it is. And then when I first got back into it, it was, oh, you should get your photos published. I'm like, okay, that sounds cool. And like you, I'm like, got a couple of covers, had like a full feature, like all these things, but they want to charge me for this magazine.
Yeah.
And then I'm like 20, 25, something like that magazines in. And I went, why am I doing this?
What am I
Nobody's
getting
seeing
out of
me in
this?
this.
Yeah.
Well, so, most people just want the recognition of being in something tangible, right?
Correct.
And then other people think somebody's going to see their work from this thing. No, they're not. It's literally just on, what is it, like something hub, like Mag Hub or Mag something.
It's an article
Mag
with a
Cloud.
couple pictures, and that's all they care.
Yeah.
about,
Yeah, exactly. So about like it was somewhere in like the 20 range. I was like, I'm not doing this anymore. And people kept reaching out to me to submit to them. No. Are you paying me? Because you're going to want. I got an email. And I was so mad about this email. Like I had to talk about it on social media. I get an email from there's a website online called Malvi that basically brings all these magazines collectively together in one space so that you can submit for publication to them for review and they say yes or no. And I had one guy that I had shot. I sent off the photos. I know it's a squirrel, Cody. I'll come back to you. Leave me alone.
This is all night, Cody. This is all night. We're good.
We're all ADHD here, okay? So I get this email that we really like your set. We would like to put it on the cover of our edition. Normally we charge $120, but we have a discount, so it'll be $60 for the cover and the feature. I'm sorry. Say what?
Yeah,
no.
You reached out to me. You're paying me for my
yeah. I said, I'm going to have to decline because there's no return on investment here. I don't understand why you would charge me to be in your magazine when you're going to sell it and make money. I'm not selling your magazine. I'm not making money off of this situation. And I think that was like the final straw for me where I was like, I'm not doing this. Like, this is dumb. But people do it all the time. It's also, I don't know if it's in the car world, but in the people world, they do one of the tattoo pages or whatever. And there's one of like the sport model, not Sports Illustrated, but one of those Maxim magazine or whatever. There are these contests to where you have to get voted on. But what they do is you get a vote and they're like, oh, well, if you want to vote more, here's how much it will cost. And these people are out here going, oh my God, guys, vote for me. Make sure you vote for me. I'm in the top 5. No, you're not. No, you're not. It's a marketing ploy. They're making money off of you. They are exploiting you. You are not winning anything.
You are just getting more money. That's all you're doing.
It's really hard to explain that to people. They're like, are you sure? I'm like, I don't know how much more clear to be with you about what's happening here. Yeah. Cody said that, but when a person asks $50 for a shitty pic, is it okay to brush them off? So the answer technically is yes. But sometimes I wish that we would provide actual feedback, because I think that's what's missing a lot of times is everybody's not willing to actually say something.
Well, because you don't want to piss anybody off. Now, is it more of an insult to say, no, I don't want your picture, or is it more of an insult to say your stuff's shit? It's just shit.
Well, yeah, well, we don't say that. We use tactful words.
No, we don't do that.
Whether
we don't sugarcoat shit around here.
We use tactful, professional words, sir. Okay, but I actually know what Cody's referring to, and this is the problem with media and the different spaces is you have 80%, 85% of people are like, oh my God, I love it so much. Everything's free. Okay, that's your choice. Not going to knock you for it. But if I'm going to go charge, how do I charge when one person is charging $5 for a digital photo, another one's charging 50 for digital, and then another person's charging 120 for canvas. Somebody else is charging $4 for an 8x10. What are we doing? You know what I mean? You can't, unless you work with a track specifically, and the person who does it the best is Vay for Azra. Unless you dial it in and say, hey guys, here's the guideline and expectation. Yes, you can charge. Here's what we need to keep it within so that everybody can have a fair shake at potentially selling their work. You're going to know whose work is good because those people are going to go buy it.
Yep.
Because it's not ridiculously expensive because they've given it an overinflated value because they don't know what to charge.
Yeah.
And that's the problem.
When I posted my content, I would not post anything unless I put it into Photoshop, Lightroom, anything like that, and actually zoomed all the way in on that photo.
Yeah.
If it was not tack sharp from tip to tail of that car, it wasn't posted. It wasn't posted.
Right.
It was never seen. It was thrown in a delete file, and it was gone. The only thing I would ever post was 10 out of 10 quality photos. And again, a blind squirrel finds a nut every once in a while. You're going to have 35,000 shots of, the same shit, but there's always going to be that one good shot that's in there. And it's always that one shot that matters the most. And, like I said, I would just delete absolutely everything if it was just shit because it was never good enough. It wasn't in focus. Oh, this is too grainy. I can't noise reduce the shit out of this without it looking like, it was painted on by fucking water-based paint, There was different stuff that I couldn't do. And, I always strive for excellence. I'm funny about that. I always want to do good.
Who's an overachiever?
We always want to succeed here. But, I don't want to put out stuff that gives me a bad name. Don't look at my photo and say, oh, that's shit when it's not, if I drop the ball on something, I'm going to say I dropped the ball, it's like, no, I missed your shot, dude. But
well, but that's it. When I first started, I had art people brain. So I wanted to touch every single photo in a very particular way. And I realized very quickly that I couldn't shoot the volume that was needed for the volume of cars. There was just no way it was going to happen.
Yeah.
And I have now switched to like doing the batch. I had to force myself to learn it. I hate it, but I had to force myself to learn it. And now I care a little bit less, and I will let everybody know these aren't edited. They're straight out of camera. You want an edit? Let me know.
Then I'll do it. Yeah.
Yeah. At this point, I need to change that too, which has been kind of like my 2026 is trying to figure out what I actually want that to look like. Because if I'm going to put the time in, there has to be a return somewhere. But if I'm just going to go to an event and shoot and then talk about it, then I'm just a media person. I'm a spokesperson. I'm a host. I'm a promoter at that point. I'm not actually a photographer, videographer at that point. I'm just a promoter. Yeah. And you know what? That's okay too, if that's what I end up doing. So I think this year is definitely going to get a little bit more dialed in because the spaces are so varied that it makes it almost impossible to feel like you're accomplishing anything. Mm-hmm. And let's see, what did Cody say? That makes zero sense to me. And if it don't make sense, it don't make money. He said exactly. He said, I don't want to hurt feelings. He said, all qualities aren't equal either. If those in those prices you said. He says, I have no problem paying for quality, which is why Dawn will be at the season opener for me. Of course I will. Like it just, but so that's it. Like Summit Point's a good example. There was one event that I was thinking about just not going to because I was like, I don't have to. And I put it out there to the guys and I'm like, hey, unless somebody wants me, Dawn's staying home. And I had two of the guys reach out and go, okay, what does it cost to get you there? But it's because I've been there long enough that they would like to see me do something and they want me to show up. So they're like,
they expect you to be there.
Let's do this. Yeah.
Like you're always there and we need you here, but now you're not coming. No, fuck that. We need you here.
Yeah, well, and both of them wanted progress video essentially. So I just documented their day, and then I didn't have to edit anything other than just making sure the video was decent. So they had decent video whether they wanted to use it or just review it next year. You know what I mean? And there's different spaces for everything.
Well, be ready for
Um,
July 18th because you're doing some shit for me.
it's on my calendar. It's on my calendar. I'll be right there.
We'll be
Vroom, vroom.
videoing. I'll have the GoPro on the helmet and all that good stuff. We'll get some clips from inside.
Can I put a 360 camera on you?
You know, I would
Is
like
that
to
an
know where to
option?
put it. I would love to know where to put it because I don't know if it's going to work on the helmet.
I have a thing. They
I was
actually make a
looking.
mount. They make a mount that it has straps that go over like the front of the helmet. So you tighten the straps down on the inside of the helmet. So the mount sits right here. So you can tuck it down or you can tuck it at an angle or you can tuck it sideways.
So mine has a fire retardant skirt that goes underneath the helmet. So you're not
Okay.
going to be able to go anywhere near that.
I have other mounts too. We'll make this happen. I got this.
Yeah, we could
got
definitely
this.
get a 360 in there because I was thinking about that earlier this year.
What about to the car?
We could. We put it on the cage or something, but you just got to. I'm not liable for any damages to any camera.
I think I have a solution. I think I have a solution. We got this. Yes, Cody, you're exactly right. I have a clamp setup that has worked, I think up to probably like, I know we've definitely gotten it up to 100 miles an hour. So it's literally just a clamp that can go on the roll cage. But if we had
280.
Fuck it, let's send it. Full send. Let it fly. We got this. I actually have one of my drone friends, Mike Pilkerton. He let me have access to his all of his drone footage from last year. So I've been going through it, and I'm like, so hey, I have a question. Can we do a thing? And he's like, what thing? And I was like, can we attach a 360 camera to your drone? He's like, yeah, I just got to print a 3D mount for it. And I'm like, sign me up. How do I sign up for this? Do you need anything? What can I do for you?
Are you working on that fucking mount yet? We need to do this.
I want all the things. Thank you. And so it was interesting because I didn't even know if it was going to be an option because I don't know how everything works for them. I know they have a gyro app that they use for the stabilization for the footage because it's on the GoPros on the drone kind of deal. And but I'd be curious to see what it would look like out of camera straight off of the drone because they do so well already. Yeah. So that's on my list for this year. I think we're going to wait till it gets a little bit warmer and then we're going to pick an event that we can go to together and give it a shot.
You can always go to Florida. I'll take a Florida trip right now.
I have a girlfriend of mine in Titusville, Florida. She's right there near the Orlando something Speedway, not
Orlando
Speedway.
SpeedWorld. Yeah.
Which
OSW.
One?
Orlando
Yes.
SpeedWorld. Yep.
Yeah. It's the world that throws me off because like it feels like it should be like Speedway, not Speed World.
Yeah.
And I always say it wrong.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't feel right.
Yeah, no, it's Orlando International, something like that. Like it's got to have some kind of like international raceway or some shit like that. But no, Speed World.
Yeah. It's just it throws me off every time. I never remember the world part. Cody's family lives 30 minutes outside of Orlando, so it sounds like we got to set up a Florida trip at some point in time this year. The friend of mine actually that lives in Titusville.
Now we could be there tomorrow morning.
Please don't threaten me with a good time. We've had this conversation. Actually, I don't have a vehicle at the moment, so I'm probably out of luck. The Jeep has to get some work done. Done. Sign me up. When do we? Oh no, I got to help my parents move this weekend. I'm out. Damn it.
You ain't helping nobody move. Not with 21 inches of snow. You ain't doing shit.
We're not getting 21 inches of snow.
We're supposed to get like 17 or something.
You might.
Yeah,
you might.
Sorry, you're up northern, wherever.
No, I'm down south from you, aren't I?
Where are you?
Aren't you in Maryland?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm in Virginia.
What part of Virginia?
So I'm in like the Northern Virginia area, but I'm still south of you.
Bullshit. No, bullshit. You say Northern Virginia, you're in Northern Virginia. I'm Southern Maryland. I'm south. I'm way south of you. I'm 5 minutes from MIR, if that tells you anything.
So when I looked at the weather today, because I talked to my mom, I was like, hey, do we have a plan B? And she said no. She's like, we have to get everything moved to the new property this week. And I said, okay, fine. I looked at it today. her area, they're moving to Lacoste or something like that. And they're not supposed to get snow until evening. And they're only expected as of right now to get like maybe 5 inches.
Oh
Our
no,
snow actually isn't supposed to start till Sunday.
we're getting
So
hammered.
like, are you?
Yeah,
Okay.
we're getting hammered. It's supposed to start Saturday for us, go into Sunday, and then it goes into Monday, I believe, for us.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Now it could change on our end, but at this point, my fingers are crossed because I'll deal with the cold. I just don't want to deal with the snow if I don't have to, especially because I think we have to take 95, I think a big chunk of the way down. And you know what that looks like when snow happens. Nobody knows how to drive.
Cluster, you know what?
Hmm. Find me some back roads.
There you go.
This is what I'm going to do.
There you
All
go. Let
right.
them all
Well,
slide off in the ditches.
we have hit the 2 hour mark and you have been cold for 2 hours. So I think it's time to let you go warm up.
Sounds good to me.
All right. Well, Cody, thank you for joining us. Everybody else, the whole 4 people that are still left on YouTube that haven't gone to bed yet.
Y'all rock. Real troopers there.
Appreciate you guys. I'm gonna hit the end live on Instagram, and then we're gonna end the live stream here. Maybe.